Hey, girl.
Hello. How are you?
How you doing, girl?
Good. I'm here. It's Wednesday. Yes.
That part. Yes, lips. Come on, I see it. Hello and welcome everyone again to another episode of In the Divas Den. We have a lot to get to in this episode, starting from disturbing news in Atlanta to the talk and Sharon Osbourne to Grammys, recap, Oscar nominations, Kirk Franklin, Trey Songz, all of that. We're going to get to all of that and more. But before we start into our headlines, we first have to do our check-in. So, Precious, girl, how you doing?
I'm starting to get tired of some things, but still here. Good to go.
Do I need to cuss somebody out?
No.
Okay.
It's just, feeling exposed today because hair is just slicked back and just out there. But it's cool.
That's okay, because you know what? You were giving me natural beauty and you're giving me glow. Hey, now.
Okay, David. How are you doing?
Girl, I am, after venting earlier today, I'm feeling better. Because one thing that I just realized is that there are just some people out here who are just given jobs but don't really have the qualifications for it.
Yeah.
And when you start to affect my workload, I then have a problem, Mm-hmm. So after just a small little vent session, I feel better. But I just know that we're going to have to revisit this conversation, and I'm not excited about that.
Continue to show them that your stuff is 100% top notch, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. That part, girl. And pay me.
Yes.
Please.
Money.
But, y'all, we also want to hear from you guys. How you doing? Talk to us into the comments. Don't be silent. There is a lot that we are going to talk about tonight. We definitely want to hear your thoughts, your comments, and your criticism on it all. So, interact with us tonight. Make sure you are liking, make sure you are sharing, and make sure you're letting a friend know, hey, follow In the Divas Den. Okay. Hey now. So let's go ahead and jump into our headlines. Hey now. Do. So, some unfortunate news that we have to start with, and it's sad that we even have to have this conversation in 2021. But there was a shooting in Metro Atlanta that left 8 dead. We're still getting details on what the cause of the shooting was, and they have captured the shooter, of course. His name is Robert Aaron Long. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Robert Long, and there he is right there looking as crazy as possible. But the crazy thing is they're now saying that the reason for the shooting was because of sexual frustration. And I don't understand how in the world that has anything to do with you taking the lives of 8 people in various massage parlors. No,
that's like the most personal problem that you can have. And to take it out on other people and ruin other people's families and lives because of it, like, what's the point? And Reverend Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter, actually tweeted, because I think it was New York Times that said, hey, how do we start the conversation between Black people standing for Asian? She was like, how about we start a conversation with white people standing up against white supremacy? Because that's the problem. We all have been through this and are continuing to go through this and stand with each other. The problem is that the people who are causing it are never reprimanded and never brought to justice. Like, that's the problem.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, even with, people not facing the consequences, you still have the people who are, who have dealt, with their involvement in at the Capitol. Yep. And they're just so surprised that, number one, people are turning them in. And number two, that they aren't being released on bail. And it's like, because there haven't been any consequences to your white supremacy, you actually think that you can do something like this and you should be able to let go without any sort of charges or anything like that. And they can't handle it. And that's what I find so amusing.
it's a cycle that's going to continue. And in the middle of COVID, like we're still in the
Right,
middle of a pandemic,
right,
and to be out here just shooting people, like that's just disrespect to life itself. Like you
exactly,
have something we cannot control that's taking the lives of people every single day, and here you are out here murdering people. Like
exactly.
for what?
Exactly. You know, so of course we will keep you guys updated if we hear any more on this story, but unfortunately the details are just so new. We're still not sure of what the motive is, but I don't believe it was sexual frustration. I don't believe that at all. I
Did they
believe,
give him Burger King when they arrested him this time too?
girl,
Okay, I don't
that
know.
part, I don't even want to get into that because that is a whole show in itself. Because I'm
Yes.
like, oh, it's funny how you get to get handcuffed and, you know, go to jail, but we can't
Yeah.
even go that far, you know? So let's go ahead and get into our next topic, where Black people and just people all in general are just celebrating in the masses because some people have gotten their stimulus, honey, and they are not playing around about this 1400. They have gotten brand new. The memes are endless. They're absolutely hilarious. I think we even have a picture of a couple of them where people are just saying when they go to certain areas like McDonald's, bring me the clown. When I go to Ruth Chris, have Ruth Chris bring me my stuff. They're calling Joe Biden money bag Joe. I mean, one thing that I can say about quarantine and 2020 and 2021, Black people have kept me in stitches throughout the whole entire time. Like they know how to take a situation and just turn it around, and we can just be able to laugh, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, this 1400 is great, but that is a gross negligence to the American people. Because when you hear what places like Italy, who've been struck extremely hard by it, or even Canada have done for their people, like in Canada, they get $2,000 a month on top of the government paying half of their salary and taking care of their housing.
That
Now, I'm
part.
not saying that that has to happen here, but I'm saying there needs to be some kind of bridge between that gap because, I
But
mean, struggling for 1400 just to get that.
what's so crazy is the fact that there was even an argument about helping the American people, and the fact that none of the Republicans actually voted in favor of this. And that's what is so amazing to me. Like, you really think that the American people do not need help at this point in time, and then for you to be so greedy to say, well, we don't agree with that, so it is what it is. You're just essentially going to let people, just starve because they can't afford to feed their families. They can't pay their mortgage, they can't pay their bills, they can't pay their rent, but that's not your problem. But yet, when election time rolls around, you want them to vote for you, but then you just leave me in shambles. How does this work? How?
It doesn't. And if somebody wants to take a night off and finally get takeout or take their family out to a restaurant and they haven't been able to do so for a year and they want to do that with their stimulus checks, so what?
That part.
It doesn't have to be rent, groceries, laundry, and all the stuff that you have to. Some of that is personal well-being. Take care of yourself too. If you need a new shirt, go buy a new shirt. You need new shoes, go get new shoes. It's okay. You don't have to feel the guilt behind that.
I feel like you speaking to me because I need all those things. I need new shoes. I need new clothes. Everything.
I need new hair. Okay, next time y'all see me, it's gonna be new hair.
Girl, we need to go treat ourselves. Come on. And that's one thing that amazes me too, of everyone with quarantine and all that, everything that's going on, how everybody knows how to be a specialist all of a sudden, or an expert of how to make people turn their money around. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're not going to tell somebody how to spend their money. If somebody, as you said, wants to spend it on clothes, hair, they just want to go and blow it on gambling. That is their money. Like, mind your business. Mind your business. Not everybody.
Congratulations for surviving this far. How about that?
That part. So if somebody is deciding to go to Red Lobster and wants to get crab legs and treat their friends and family, mind your business and allow them to do so, because guess what? That is their stimulus money and they are allowed to do whatever it is that they want. However, what is not okay is what happened in Indianapolis. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but a young man decided to take the life of his girlfriend and her family members, all over the fact of an argument that stemmed from the stimulus check. He felt as though he was entitled to half of it, and because they shared a child, and she allegedly, from her cousin, who was talking to the Indianapolis news stations, was saying that she told him, you've never done anything with this child. You haven't raised it. You haven't helped, so why do you feel as though you deserve the money? But she did tell him, I will give you 400 of it. But I guess obviously that was not enough. He told her in a very heated conversation over the phone, I will get the money, I'm gonna get this money anyway. And that essentially led up to the deaths of her and her family members. He decided to take their 6-month-old to his sister's house, dropped the 6-month-old off, and hid in his cousin's house, where he was eventually found and arrested. But it's just, don't let something like money drive you to this point. There was no reason for why you had to take her life and her family's life. And then on top of that, now you're in jail. So what was the point?
Right. Like, you don't have your stimulus or the half that you wanted from her. And it's like, he killed her, her daughter, her mother, and I think it was her brother or cousin that he killed. And like you said, for what? You're going to be in jail now for murdering all these people. Did you think you were going to get away from it? And you did this. You put a price on their head. 4 people's lives, $700.
Right.
What? What is wrong with people? Is it possession? I don't know what's wrong with people. What is happening?
Exactly. But don't let something like this cause you to, don't let something like this cause you to do something stupid, because I felt, and it's crazy because as soon as I heard about how much people were getting for their children, I thought about people who weren't in relationships anymore. Same. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good, because somebody ultimately is going to be like, well, it's my child too. I deserve half, and blah, 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 blah. So there are probably more arguments that have not made it to news outlets. But I don't want this to be the reason for why people are losing their lives.
Right. It's not, I don't even know how to put this into words. It's not worth it. It's $700 that you can make over the course of a day or 2 days. And you kill all these people.
That part.
And you take the family away from your child.
That part.
So your child does not have their mother.
Nope.
Their mother's family, their sibling, and also does not have you, because now you're in jail.
Exactly. And then now when the child grows up, I think it was a little girl, they're going to have to hear how her father murdered her mother and her family over a stimulus check. I mean, it's just so idiotic. So please, by all means, do whatever you want to do with your money, but it is not worth the argument. It is not worth the fight. Let's be adults about this. And just not, let's not do this, please. We're already dealing with a lot. And speaking of dealing with a lot, baby, Sharon Osbourne, she is the epitome of life comes at you fast. I'm pretty sure while she was on her high horse supporting Piers Morgan and trying to come for Cheryl Underwood's neck, that she did not think that not only would the show be on hiatus, but she too would be getting investigated. If you guys have not heard, after she decided to come out on Twitter and say that she supported Piers and, and stand with him, and I am his friend, there was a very heated argument between her and Cheryl Underwood, where she's like, well, how am I being seen as a racist? This isn't fair. I'm not racist. I'm the least racist person that you ever, the usual, talk that you get from somebody when you accuse them of being a racist. I actually think that we have the video. So Kayla, let's go ahead and roll that clip.
How can I be racist about anybody? How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Well, I tell you,
what?
We will be right back.
What?
We have more topics, so don't go away.
And I think we should stop this. I will ask you again, Cheryl.
Yes.
I've been asking you during the break. Right. I am asking you again. And don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. This is the situation. Yes. You tell me where you have heard him say, educate me. Tell me when you have heard him say racist things. Educate me. Tell me.
It is not the exact words of racism. It's the implication and the reaction to it.
And the crazy thing is this conversation went on for at least 2 more minutes, and after this conversation was had, and the 2 ladies said their piece or whatever, that's when the show essentially took a hiatus. But come to find out, Elaine Welteroth, who is one of the new co-hosts on the show, she actually put in a claim to open up an investigation about racial tension and a hostile work environment. Then now we're finding out that Sharon Osbourne allegedly called Holly Robinson Pete ghetto, that she called Julie Chen a wonton and slanty eyes, and even made comments to Sarah Gilbert and called her a pussy licker, on top of everything else. So as of today, we are now learning that what the hiatus was originally, they have extended it because they still want to continue investigating. What do you think about this, Precious?
Okay, so Sharon's question did not imply that Sharon was racist at all. She internalized it and made it about herself. And if she's been on this earth for 68 years, how dare she say to Cheryl for her to educate her about her own people treating other people like crap? She didn't even realize that the tones and what she was doing is essentially what people were typically accused of when they're racist. And that's essentially what Cheryl was saying about Pierce, because she kept saying, tell me what he said, tell me what he said. And she said, it's not so much what he said, but how he is denying someone's existence in this world as a Black woman. That in and of itself is racist. You cannot assume that just because you go about life a certain way, that everyone else has that same experience. And when you're doing that, you're negating a whole group of people and saying that they're all liars. Exactly. And her internalizing and saying, you're saying I'm racist, and crying and all that fragility that was coming across, and then all that yelling. Isn't she your friend? Why are you talking down to her if she's your friend? Why can't you have a conversation? If you're not racist, then what are you upset about?
Exactly. Because you are showing your true colors, baby. And as they say, a hit dog will holler. And you were hollering and howling all over the place because there was no reason for you to get upset. If Cheryl is talking to you just like the way you and I are talking to each other, why are you getting so upset? Nobody's
and kudos to Cheryl, because we know Cheryl. Cheryl, the old Cheryl would have went off, okay? You would have seen all her gums and everything. She'd have went off. However, she was well composed. And I can't imagine how you feel, because I'm sure she felt blindsided in that moment. And she actually sat there and said, you know what, I could do this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my composure, because if I go off, I'm going to be the angry Black woman on national television. And I can't afford to do that. But you can afford to sit there with your dog licking on a chew toy, yelling at everybody on the set.
Exactly. And if that isn't privilege, I don't know what is. Because as you said, if Cheryl would have been kicking and screaming and doing it, if she would have acted the same way that Cheryl would have acted, first of all, she would have been fired. She would have been deemed ghetto, hostile, angry, aggressive, everything possible that we as Black women have been called all our entire lives. You know, so for you to act like a child on this stage, and like you said, I'm supposed to educate you when you've been on this earth for 68 years, baby, what we're not going to do is act so stupid and completely oblivious. What you're mad about is that you got caught, you're getting called out, and because you can talk to your family like they're pieces of trash and probably say whatever little racist innuendos in your household that you can get away with, we're not tolerating that over here, okay? Because as you guys know, when they had their show on VH1 or MTV, whatever it was a while back, they were raunchy and they were completely filthy. And the things that they said were just so disgusting. But what you're not going to do is come on this platform and essentially try to do the same thing and talk about people and refer to them as wonton or slanty eyes or pussy licker or ghetto or whatever and think you're going to get away with that. No, baby, we're not doing that. Not today.
No.
Not today.
And that has nothing to do with cancel culture, because it was never okay in the first place. How about that?
That part. So let's just say that she might not be returning to the talk. I don't watch the show anyway, so either way, I'm just like, okay, if she's gone, I'm not going to be like, oh, so whatever, fill her spot with somebody else, because I don't see how that behavior can be okay moving forward. Because if we were to have this conversation again, you're essentially just going to act out like you did before. And then don't tell. And you know what angered me the most, before we move on, what angered me the most when she sat there and told Cheryl, don't you cry. If anything, I should be crying.
Yeah, no.
What?
No wonder Cheryl has not responded to her multiple apologies that she's been sending her. I don't blame her.
I don't want your apology. Don't want it. Bye. Moving on, let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and mention a little bit about the Grammys. The highs and lows of the Grammys. Woo, child. Okay, where do we start? Let's start with the good news. Let's start with, let's start with that. So let's go ahead and run down the accolades. So Blue Ivy Carter won her first Grammy at 9. Yay. Kudos to her. Megan Thee Stallion is the first Black woman rapper to win Best New Artist in 22 years. Hey now, hey. Mickey Guyton, you see her down at the bottom, is the first Black woman to be nominated in the country category with the song Black Like Me. And the young gentleman over there, you see him, he is a producer named K Trinata. I think that's how you say it, became the first Black artist to win Best Dance and Electronic Album. Shout out to him. And Beyonce, the queen herself, is officially the most decorated woman in Grammy history. So
yes. Also, Tiffany Haddish winning the first comedy album since 1986. That's crazy.
Completely forgot about Tiffany. Shout out to her. And it was so sweet how she found out.
Yeah, with the kids and through the ear with the producer. That was really nice.
Girl. So happy for that. Super, super here for that. Also, can we talk about those tap dancers that Megan Thee Stallion had for her performance of Savage? Completely here for them. 100%. Loved it. Loved the Black Girl Magic that was happening on stage. I was completely here for Little Baby's performance. I was here for the political message and the stance that was in that. Completely here for it. I will definitely be listening to it. Trevor Noah, as always, my boo, who doesn't know that he is my boo. Hey, boo. Always here for him. Whenever you're ready to come over and dip over in this chocolate, let me know. And Silk Sonic, baby. When I tell you, I am in love with this song. When they performed Leave the Door Open, I guess their efforts, were definitely well appreciated from the Grammys. They went ahead and allowed them to perform. That, in my opinion, was one of the best performances of the night. One of the best.
Yeah, shout out to the fans because they stormed the Grammys Twitter and was like, hey, y'all need to have them on the show. So
let's go. Let's go. Girl, did you have any highs or anything that you enjoyed before we get into the lows?
I completely skipped the Grammys this year. I was actually working, but usually I used to love because I wanted to be a member of the Academy as well, like the voting Academy, and I actually know some people who are, which is really cool. And just the love of music, but it's not about that anymore. It's more politics than anything. And I think because of that kind of turned me away from wanting to see the show. Of course, obviously for all the K-pop fans out there, it was big news that BTS was nominated and was performing, which was great. They did not win, which I kind of knew that was going to happen because the Grammys used them to get views. But that's a whole nother story. We're going to leave that alone. But shout out to them for making history in their own right. So that was great that they were able to do that.
And speaking of views, honey, I guess that did not work because the Grammys had the lowest views in the history of it being aired on TV. They only had 8.8 million views, which is horrible.
And that was by design too. Them K-pop fans, when they found out they did not win, they were angry and did not stream the show at all.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. It worked against you. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Because last year, they actually had, 18.7, I think people saying. So this year was absolutely awful. So that was definitely a low. And the fact that Doja Cat didn't get any love, like her song "Say So" was huge. It was
huge
everywhere. And they said, "No, girl, next."
Yeah, I'm really wondering what they're basing the awards on. We obviously know it's not sales because that's Billboard, that's not the Grammys. But they've been getting it wrong for years. This is not the first time that they have completely messed up when it comes to awarding people what they should get. So I don't know what it's going to take to get it back to the way that it should be or that way that it was.
Girl, I mean, well, of course, a few people were upset, like Lil Wayne, but who cares? You've been canceled ever since you decided to go ahead and endorse Trump. So we don't care.
Yeah.
So moving on, the one person that I do agree should be mad is The Weeknd. His music is everywhere, just like Doja Cat. So for him to not get any sort of nominations and to completely get snubbed, I thought was pretty wrong.
It was. Oh, shout out to Lettucey for her first win after 14 nominations. She should have got a Grammy a long time ago.
That part. But one other thing that we have to touch on before we move on to our next topic. WAP. Guys, Kayla, roll the clip. Roll the clip, girl. Go ahead and roll it. The face. Why do we make the same face?
You know,
Ooh.
I will say this. If you're going to chastise Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, then make sure you do the same to Dua Lipa, because she had pretty much the same performance with not all the assets. So make it even across the board. If it's bad, then it's bad for everybody, not just one group of people.
With that being said, I was not expecting any of that.
No. it went, like, I was expecting this, and then it went whoop, and I was like, okay.
I'm like, oh, so y'all gonna do the most on this here Grammy stage, on this white man stage. Okay. What wasn't expecting that. Did you feel like it was appropriate?
I don't know if appropriate is the right word, but I don't know what other word you would use. I don't think it was necessary.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. I don't think it was necessary. Because we already know what the song is about.
Right.
Your sexuality already exudes itself. Like, you don't need to. And then they were struggling to get to those moves as they were doing them. So, no.
Precious, I can't stand shit.
They were struggling. Megan Thee Stallion don't have Megan Thee Stallion knees no more. Okay? They were struggling. Stop it.
Some people are actually hinting at or think that Cardi B may be pregnant, which was one of the reasons why she was kind of like struggling with her transitions, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, girl, is the suit heavy? Like, what's going on? Like, this just doesn't, it didn't seem clean. It wasn't giving me boom cat cat. And I'm just like, this is cringe.
To go from the 1920s excellence Nicholas Brothers type feel that May gave with her performance, and then to go to this was like, what are you doing? Where's the zhuzh?
Well, 18 pounds is a lot to try to carry.
Oh yeah, that's a child.
That makes sense. But, I mean, if you're doing rehearsal, then I still need you to give me boom cat cat, boom cat cat, boom. You know, and you weren't giving me that. You were giving me womp 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 boom. You know, so I don't know. It was a lot. I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, hey, they got away with it. They did it. It is what it is. Do I feel like because they performed WAP on the Grammys, like all children are doomed? No, because the things that we've heard and seen coming up in our era have not affected us, you know, at least that much. But people are mad. They are mad. They are upset. They're just like, this was disgusting. How dare they? Blah, 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 blah. This is not the platform they should have performed WAP on, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, you're fine. You're doing
They act like they don't know the song. Have you not heard the song? Do you not know what it's about? I mean, come on. What do you think was going to happen?
That part.
It was going to be some form of that on the stage.
That part. Good. But, you know, everybody wants to try to be parent of the year. So, you know, whatever. But let's go ahead and move on to the Oscars. The nominations came out. And this is probably the first time where the Oscars have been historic, because they have been deemed for the last few years, Oscars So White, which has been trending on Twitter, because a lot of Black people and people of color have been shunned or shut out. And let's just see. So Chadwick Boseman, this is also the first time an Oscar in Oscar history that a Best Actor category is not majorly white. So happy about that. But unfortunately, this is the first time where, you know, someone who passed away may be accepting an award. So we'll just put it out there that he actually is going to get this award. Best Actress, Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, United States versus Billie Holiday, Audra Day, and Best Supporting Actor nominees, Daniel Kaluuya with Judas and Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. with One Night in Miami, and Lakeith Stanfield and Judas and the Black Messiah.
The fact that Lakeith was questioning why he was nominated for this says a lot.
I'm not sure why he got nominated.
He himself was like, why? shout out to him for getting a nomination, but just when the artist questions, it's real interesting.
It's telling you something. I mean, because look, I like Lakeith. However, I feel like Lakeith gives me Lakeith when he's acting. I'm not getting any sort of range. Did I think that he did good in Judas and the Messiah? Yes, he did good. Do I think it was Oscar worthy? No, but will we take it? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Oscars do have a history of nominating people for, that should have gotten awards for other things, for whatever they feel they should get the award for. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about that, but kudos to him.
Yeah.
Also, Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson are becoming the first Black women nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which I am so happy to hear that. And Shaka King, Charles D. King, and Ryan Coogler are to be nominated for Best Picture. And this is the first movie with an all-Black production team. So happy about that. That was
the production team.
Here for this, so shout out to the Oscars for actually, giving us a little bit of something. I mean, like there's this.
I think too, this may be the first year that they have 2 women in the directors category.
Oh,
which is sad when you really think about that. That is so sad. The fact that all of these are first and it's 2021, that's just what's the validity behind the Grammys and the Oscars now? If you have the people that are in their industry and this is like the epitome of greatness for them and they're now questioning the validity of it, who's to say that it needs to happen anymore?
That part.
Like on one hand, it's great for the people that are nominated and are actually getting it and are, accepting it. It's kudos to them, congratulations. And I know that they feel excited about it. But then all the other people that are like, why are we giving this so much clout? Are they really serving us in our gifts?
Do you feel like because so many Black people have stopped watching the Oscars and supporting the Oscars is why they decided to essentially give us our flowers while we can still smell them?
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that's what's opened. I feel like that has also opened the doors for for women, for other minorities that are finally getting their due. I know the movie Minari, that's the Korean film, got a lot of nominations. And I'm like, these were all good films, whether or not you acknowledge them. So why are you just now doing it because you're not getting the ratings or the credibility that you have?
Exactly. And it's sad that it took people not watching or turning away or just essentially calling, the Oscars so white for them to essentially be like, yes, let's go ahead and nominate people who didn't play a slave in a movie, because that's the only thing that we would get nominated for. Because I think the one girl who played Harriet, she got nominated, but I'm like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, So it's sad that it has to come to that of where people are just like, I'm done watching, like you said, they're questioning the validity in it, but it also shows how much power people have. Those views stop coming in or people are drawn to the attention that it's just not fair. Like, you got to step it up. You got to make people accountable because there are a lot of movies that have slipped through the cracks of the Oscars for years upon years. A lot of actors who should have gotten awards by now, but haven't received any or may only be sitting on one because they decided to play a character that was a slave or was a drug dealer or, a horrible mom, whatever. Halle Berry. Yeah. And it's just like, it's sad that, like you said, it's now 2021 and we're just now getting our just due and we're not having to play unfavorable characters,
Yeah. And then Netflix too. Netflix kind of changed the game when it came to films. Amazon, all these things, I guess because it's COVID. When the Golden Globes happening, I'm like, how is the Lady Day story winning? And it just came out yesterday. Did somebody watch it ahead of time? How does that work? Okay. We in the field and I'm still like, what?
How? Goodness. Can't say if I'll actually be watching. I'm interested to see who will win, but typically I like to just watch the highlights to see, because these shows are boring now. They don't faze me. I'm not moved by it anymore. And because we've been disappointed so much in the past, I really don't plan on taking the time out to watch it. I'll just wait for CNN to release the winners, or the Shade Room, because the Shade Room has nothing else to do but to report, who won. No shade, but shade. We'll go from there. But we have to take a quick break, you guys. And after that, we will get into our trending topics. Ooh, child.
Welcome to the First and Goal podcast. You have now entered the set with Coach Blocker, the #1 source for player development both on and off the field. Tune in this Thursday where we will be going live on Facebook and on YouTube.
Your body, that's easy. We train your mind.
This week's special guest star, Atlanta Falcons running back coach Des Kitchens. Coach Kitchens will be discussing what it takes to make it from high school to college to the pros. Our second guest is Miss Marlene Sanders, mother of Miles Sanders of the Philadelphia Eagles. Miss Marlene will be discussing what it takes to support an NFL star. Coach Kitchens, the Atlanta Falcons, Miss Marlene, Philadelphia Eagles, this Thursday on the First and Goal podcast. So bring all your questions, and as usual, I'll see you on the set.
All right, guys, make sure you are following the First and Goal podcast and support, let's just support our people. Can we do that? Let's go ahead and support our people.
It's simple. Support is simple.
We won't get into that, but we could. That could be a whole show. Kayla, let's go ahead and do the trending topics. Hey, So one thing that has been trending all over the place and has caused a social media uproar, Kirk Franklin, honey, cussed his son out so bad, my feelings were hurt. I don't know if you guys peeped it on social media. I don't know how you haven't seen it. It's been everywhere. It's been on every single platform, where his son, Carry-On, how do you say that boy's name?
I think it's Carry-On.
Yeah, Carry-On decided to leak a phone call that he had between he and his father, and it was laced with all sorts of profanities. He was cussing his son out, calling him all sorts of names, and you know how we do. We actually have the footage, so Kayla, let's go ahead and roll that.
Like this. When your bitch ass starts disrespecting, you need to get your skinny motherfucking ass back out the goddamn way before I put my foot in your ass. Because I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Shut the fuck up. I'm old. What's up? I will punch your neck, nigga, if you ever disrespect me. I did it.
So, since then, his son decided to say, well, look, this is the toxic relationship my father and I have. He's disrespectful towards me. I'm sick of this. I feel like I'm not getting any support, blah, 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 which then prompted Kirk Franklin to apologize on social media to his fans and, to those who may have seen the video, and essentially just giving people some insight on the relationship between he and his son, and how it's just not the best. And I think we actually do have a clip of him and his apology.
Many of you know I have an older son named Carry-On Franklin. In May, he'll be 33. For many years, we have had a toxic relationship with him as a family. We've tried for many years through counseling, through therapy, to try to rectify this private family matter. Recently, my son and I had an argument that he chose to record. I felt extremely disrespected in that conversation, and I lost my temper. And I said words that are not appropriate. And I am sincerely sorry to all of you. I sincerely apologize.
So Precious. With the audio and, and Kirk Franklin coming out and essentially, letting everyone know that he apologized. And of course, to those who are watching, I want to hear from you. Do you feel as though Kirk Franklin is wrong?
We both share the same communications degree. And in that, we learned about body and how it moves and what it's saying. The fact that he was blinking the entire apology, he ain't mean nothing he said. He was not sorry for what, see, Kayla called it. He was not sorry for anything he said or how he said it. His son went on Instagram to elaborate that, first of all, I didn't realize he had a son. I don't pay attention to the family that much. I just thought he had a daughter. I didn't know he got like 4 kids, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But he said that he has not been a part of the family unit for 14 years. Okay. 14 years ago, he was probably still a child or a teenager at the time. So what happens between a parent and a child to the point where you are that angry when you speak to them on the phone? To the point where that person has not felt a part of the family for 14 years. I don't know. I don't want to know the family business, but because it's out here on the interwebs, we got to know. There's some deep-rooted something in there that they need to fix and figure out outside of whatever curse words or words they decide to use when speaking to each other. That's the point of this whole thing.
I will say, even though I'm not a parent, being around children will bring that out of you. 100%. And especially when they get older and they try you and they think it's okay to disrespect you or say things. And like you said, we don't know the whole story here. We just know his side, Kirk's side, and the truth. But I can understand where Kirk is coming from, where you've just, you've been at your wits' end with this person and you've tried with this person, you've tried therapy, you've tried counseling. But when you are a 33-year-old man and you are still making excuses for why your life is shit, it's no longer my problem, because as a parent, I have done all that I can do. And essentially that's what his daughter was saying, because the daughter came out and was like, yo, we're not doing this. We are not doing this. Like, you're telling a lie. Like, you have been around the family. Like, you essentially stopped talking to us. Like, dad has done everything for you. He paid for your schooling. Like, he's done this, that, and the third. So why you feel the need to even come out and say something like this? Like, you're being fake.
It's like, fix it without us being in it. You about to destroy his whole lineage. That was an attempt to destroy his legacy, essentially, because of that. And it's like, when he hit that modulation, when he came back and he modulated with the cuss words, that's when you know you in trouble. Like, okay.
He didn't put on the pastor voice. I was like, oh, yes, you in trouble. Girl. And that's what I'm like, that's when you know that a person just took you there. And I think that's why I sympathize with him, because I've been in that situation where somebody makes you so mad and you get so out of character and you're just like, damn it.
And then you get mad at yourself afterwards. Like, why did I do that?
And we know that family will see that nerve and they will tap dance on it like there is no tomorrow. And you be like, you know what? I had just about enough of you. And like you said, then your voice gets from here to here. And
that's right. Modulate.
and I think another reason I feel bad, because like I said, I don't want to say that, Kirk Franklin doesn't do any wrong, because I'm pretty sure, there's some faults in your area.
He had a whole thing, addiction to gay porn, that he talked about. Ooh, I mean, he's been transparent. Yes, you didn't know about that?
I thought it was porn. I didn't know it was gay porn.
He was on the Oprah and they talked about it.
Well,
yeah.
So there's definitely some problems.
A whole nother story.
He's only human. You're only human. But in a situation like that, and I'm like, I've been in that situation where I have a half brother. I don't really claim him for personal reasons, but I've seen him in situations disrespect my father, and it made me so angry, because you are a full-grown adult. And at some point, you have to be accountable for your actions. I understand that parents mess up, but at the end of the day, parents are only human, and they're trying to figure things out along with, we are trying to figure things out, and here I am at 33, still trying to think, like, what the hell am I doing? Where am I going? Am I on the right path? And to know that as a father, you have children at that age and you're trying to figure things out while trying to figure things out for them. And then you have somebody as an adult trying to come at you and say, you're the reason for why I'm like this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what about kids who don't have any parents? Or kids whose parents were, crack addicts or alcoholics or were abusive, who decide to turn their life around and become something. So at some point, you can't blame your father for your failures. At some point, you have to turn that finger around and be like, what am I doing wrong?
That's important, so important for our culture. And I'm glad you touched on it, because so often you'll hear grandma say, oh, JoJo wasn't raised right, and that's why JoJo out there in them streets and all. No, JoJo is grown. Like you said, JoJo got to figure out, yes, whatever so-and-so did was wrong, and it should not have happened. However, JoJo is grown. Let's see how we can grow past that or heal through it. Because there's so many broken people walking around with that same, oh, my parents did this, my parents did that, or they showed me this or didn't show me that. And it's like, this is your life.
Right.
At what point do you take accountability for your life? At what point do you seek healing for yourself?
Right.
And then, yes, still hold them accountable
right.
when it's necessary, but seek healing for yourself.
Exactly. And I think that was the biggest thing that, that I wanted to stress or just essentially talk about, where I'm like, I feel both of them are wrong, Yeah. Kirk, you definitely you took it to a whole nother level. However, I can see why some people do. You were wrong for posting it, because this is our culture where we have to expose people on social media. So I want to do that. And you did that maliciously, which doesn't make you look like a good person at all. It immediately backfired. But also just knowing, like, come on, we got to be accountable. Kirk was accountable. He apologized. He said what he said. So at what point are you going to be accountable as a 33-year-old man? My dude. Get it together, my nigga. Hey, now.
You and these jingles, I can't.
And another person who needs to get it together, I swear, this man needs to be on our payroll, because his name comes up almost every other show. I don't know what is going on with y'all dude Trey Songz, but he completely grossed out the entire internet by deciding to spit in two women's mouths and I guess have them share the spit or whatever. I didn't watch the video. Now, I mean, we do have, I'm warning y'all now, we're getting ready to show the picture. So if you don't want to see it, turn away. But we do have a picture of the alleged incident that happened. Supposedly, this was on set for a music video. Not quite sure. They just said on set. I don't know if this was for a music video, if it was for OnlyFans. I don't know anymore, because people just doing whatever. But what? What?
And the sad part about this is going to be praised, whereas WAP was like condemned.
Girl, you done said something.
Ooh. Wait, it was a Selena Gomez music video.
Oh Lord. Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute.
Disney Channel got it wrong.
What?
I don't know what to say now. I don't know.
I need Selena to speak out and tell me what the hell was going on set. Because I mean, were y'all creating, a porn? Like what a porno? Like what?
That's what it looks like. That's legit what it looks like.
You two women, for you to sit here and allow this man to spit in your mouth, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. You are not going to spit in my mouth, especially since he was tested positive for COVID. This dude
already say, ain't it COVID times? And you spit. You can't even share drinks with the person you live with in the same room. How you spitting in somebody else's mouth?
Girl.
You got masks on so you don't get particles on people, but yet your saliva just dripping in.
And y'all sharing it, thinking that this is cute. Nothing about this is cute. Nothing about this is cute. And when I tell you, I hate when people spit. I hate when people spit to clear the mucus from their throat. I hate when people try to spit during intercourse. I'm going to tell you now, if you do that, I'm going to punch you in your throat. I hate when people spit as a sign of disrespect. Like, I hate spitting. Nothing about that is sexy. Nothing about that is attractive. I mean, if that is your thing, baby, that is your thing. But I'm telling you, this here on this platform, how I feel, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. What? No.
You know how you have to sometimes, and you get it left on your. If you don't like your own, why would you want somebody else's? This is taking me back to college. 2 Girls in 1 Cup, which we should not have ever seen.
That video, never seen it.
Don't all y'all out there who've ever seen this, you know the scar that I hold, because you hold the same scar of not being able to take that out of your brain. Just
You gotta take it back, girl. I have never seen that video. I've heard of it. I've read about it, but I refuse to watch it. Because I'm like, we're not doing this.
It took me back to the computer room at college at St. Peter's with that old Macintosh. And it was like, oh, just click it. And I was like, what the? No.
No. No. All I need Trey Songz to sit down. Just sit down. Because you're doing the most. Like, not only did you get COVID, but we also have these allegations that were brought up against you that all of a sudden just went to the wayside. Nobody's talking about it anymore, that we need to go ahead and bring back up. Because if this is true, sir, you should be in trouble by now. And we also need you to not host any sort of events or anything like that, and but that are essentially telling people not to wear masks. Like, you are just being irresponsible on every single level possible. I am tired of you. You need something to do. Something, possibly jail time. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we bring those stories back up, because they covered them real quick. But let's get on to our next topic. For all my singles out there who are interested in online dating, if you have not heard, Tinder is introducing criminal background checks, which I think is extremely smart. Now, of course, it will come with a cost, because they said that they essentially have to pay for it themselves. So they're offering it to the people who are going to frequent Tinder. They said it's not going to be too much or too expensive, but it will kind of be like the Tinder Plus membership or something along those lines. And what they said that they are going to check for is arrests, harassment, restraining orders, and other violent crimes. However, it will not show drug possession charges. And they also said that you will need the person's phone number and last name in order to, search their background. But I'm for this. Because essentially they said that this is an effort for them to protect any sort of, violence against any gender-based violence. And with the stories that have come out from Match.com and, of course, Tinder, because there are things called Tinder nightmares where people essentially have met people on Tinder and have been abused, assaulted, or whatever have you. So I guess for them taking this step, wanting to protect the people who are on this platform, I think is extremely smart. The only thing that I wish that they would do is go ahead and find a way for people to access marriage license and divorce decrees, because let me tell you something, there's a lot of married men and a lot of married women on these platforms acting single, and we ain't got time for that. Shout out to the last nigga. And on top of that, I also need them to have 3 references. I need 2 personal. I need 1 professional, because these people on these apps be lying, honey, lying, and essentially just trying to create some little fantasy world and wanting to show up and be like, okay, but who are you? Who are you? Why are you using a picture from like 1991 and it's 2021? Why are you lying about your name, your height, and any of that? Like, there's a lot that goes into online dating. So for them to take this step of background checks and all stuff like that, I'm here for it. Now, Precious, I know you're married, but how do you feel about that?
I think it's smart. Why not? I mean, you have to go through those steps. If you try and adopt a child, you got to give everything up about yourself in order to have one, to raise one. You got to do it for everything else. When you go get your license, you got to have 6 points of verification. So why not have those precautions in hand? You have to do the same thing to get a job. They do background checks to make sure that you're able to work where you have to work. So why not do that for online dating, where we have heard all these instances of murders and, like you said, kidnappings and sexual assault and all that stuff? That's unnecessary, because you got crazy people out here on these internet out here trying to kill people, as we said earlier in the show, because of sexual frustration. So why not?
Exactly. I'm here for it. So shout out to Tinder. I hope a lot of these other platforms essentially jump on board, because I think the company that owns Tinder owns Plenty of Fish and Match.com.
That's interesting.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I need these other, apps to jump on board. And I mean, if you're willing to put yourself out there and you want to be serious about dating or finding your significant other, then there should be certain things that should be involved, like the background checks, and just essentially just making sure that whoever you're going out on a date with is that person, so definitely protect these people. It doesn't mean that it's going to protect them against everything, because someone could clear a background check and essentially still be crazy, but it's just a nice step in the right direction. So
I'm sure it's a business decision too, because it kind of protects them in the other cases where they haven't been protected and probably had to pay out some money. So
that part. And I mean, considering that Tinder essentially has become a cesspool for people who just want one night stands, I think that they're really trying to like get themselves to another tier of not being, trash. But shout out to them. We are almost at the top of the hour. So this is where we get off on this train, y'all. We appreciate you for tuning in. We love you guys so much. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for liking, sharing, all of that. We love you guys. We love you so much. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you are taking it easy. Make sure that you are prioritizing your health and your mental health. And just be easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Okay. Life is already hard enough as it is. We will not be having a show next week, but we will be back. And I think we're going to play another game, Precious.
See, I'm scared now. Okay. Get ready,
girl. So we definitely have more coming up. But like I said, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Come on. Have a wonderful week.